Welcome back to poLAND.tf. I'm TurboTabs. Join with me on the couch is Alba. It's not LAN without Alba walking around. Alba, welcome to the couch. Oh yeah, Condawg's here as well, I guess.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Alba, it's lovely to have you. How have your games been going here at LAN? I know you've been playing with Choking Hazard. Had fun?
Yeah, I've had fun. It's been quite a tough LAN. A lot of good teams. But yeah, we've tried, but it's been fun at least.
I don't blame you, Albert. It is a high caliber level of TF2 this LAN. I mean, look at the upper bracket final. It's MANDEM versus Witness Gaming we're going to be doing. And Witness Gaming don't even look that convincing anymore. It must be high level, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like I've seen Witness having a couple of tough games against the Big Blow clan, the MAC team. And yeah, MANDEM have been looking really solid so far. So it's going to be interesting to see how they match up. Witness have the tendency to like show up in the big moments. So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a brawl.
Condawg, you are MANDEM's biggest fan by far. I mean, and MANDEM is your biggest fan by far. I've seen you all the love being spread and all that. So I'm going to trust that special connection. You've got some inside scoop of this team. Have they been preparing particularly for Witness at all? Or are they just more focusing on themselves here?
So this is a team. They take it game by game. Okay, they've had a couple of hours to be preparing for Witness. I've been in the booth. You know, I've been talking to them. I've been giving them a few tips of my own. You know, I've been around the block a couple of times.
Giving them tips, dear God. Okay, sorry, Witness, you've got to walk away with it.
Turbo, they've been doing a few demo reviews as well. They've been doing a bit of thinking. You know, talking things through. I believe, you know, if Sunshine comes up, they've been talking through a few Sunshine mids. You know, I make no promises. But yeah, I'm excited for the boys. And, I mean, Albert, MANDEM are going to smash Witness. Going to smash them.
Albert, if you're a betting man, who would you bet your money on? If you had those delicious channel points here on Essentials.tf and you want to double, triple your points, who are the best teams to go with?
Sadly, as a Swede, I can't play with points on Twitch, so, you know, that's a thing. But
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, MANDEM is going to smash them, you know.
Really? Hot damn.
No.
Oh, nice.
Honestly, honestly, if I would put my money on it, I would say Witness, probably. My heart says MANDEM because, you know, Baldur is my boy, you know.
Yeah, well done, lad. Here's the keys to the Maserati. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, it should be quite a tough one. I'm going to need those back at the end. It's going to be a tough game nonetheless. Witness have been slipping their vice grip on EU ever so slightly. Do you think it ever comes down to like name power? Do you think if you take away some of the names, some of the prestige of some of these players, they're not so big and tough? Do teams respect them too much?
I think the thing that has happened in the last year is that like MANDEM and Forfence brawling each other, they've really improved, both of them, like a lot. Which is not maybe so much that Witness are like getting worse or anything. It's more like the other teams are like kind of catching up, it feels like. So yeah, it's going to be even games, that's for sure.
Condawg, I hate to bring this point up and keep beating a dead horse, and I know, God, if the players hate me for it, but I put simple math together. 2 new players, now, you know, Witness is looking rocky. Is it the new? Is it Hugo? Is it Lucas? Is it these 2 players? Or should we put this thing to bed?
Look, I don't know what you said because it's so loud in here, but...
new players, and now they do bad. Is it because of them?
No. Look at MANDEM, Rons, and obviously Zams. They're both new this season. You know, these guys have turned up and they've been performing. Rons, as I keep saying, is the best soldier in Europe. Turbo. He's turned up. He's taken over a little bit. You know, Boulder still has the main reins on the horse, but Rons is riding that horse. He's riding it to their death. He's taking the team to victory, and. I mean, if we look at Witness for a second, though, they have been struggling this season. You know, in former seasons, you have seen them 6-0, 6-0 every single week. You know what I mean? This season, they've been dropping maps. They've been dropping points. This is a bit strange for the Witness boys. And I think that's, you know, coming to LAN, it's the same thing. They're really struggling, especially against MAC. I don't know what it is. It's 1-0 victories. We're used to the big 5-0s. We're used to 2-minute rounds, 10 minutes, and the game's over. You know, so I think Witness, they're not ready for the MANDEM.
Alba, you've been around for a long time. You've seen many a top team, climb, and you've seen many a top team topple. Is there such thing as being too full of ego? Like, do you think being just too good at the game could, like, be a hindrance in a way?
I think, in all honesty, to be at that level, you need to be humble from the start. So I think I guess sometimes you get your ego checked as well, but I think most of the time, like, people are trying to be humble and, like, improve. And yeah, I think that's what keep our team at the top for a very long time.
And one more question for you, Alba. Is there any particular player you want to keep your eye on out of these lot before we get into like map picks and bans?
I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see the matchup with Thomas and Balder. Like, both of them being really good players, and like seeing how they stack up against each other is going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Right, well, it seems like these teams are really taking their map picks and bans seriously, so they're going to be taking the sweet time with it, and obviously we don't do things by the internet. We have runners, we throw them one by one, they send it by carrier pigeon, it seems. So we've got a bit more time. I guess we could talk a bit more about these other little matchups. Obviously, the big one is that Boulder and Thomas thing, but is there any other sort of matchups, Condawg? Like, is there anywhere? And if I swear to God, if you say Rons one more time, I'm going to lose my mind.
Fine, Turbo, we'll take this another route. I think it's about the pairing of Boulder and June versus the pairing of Auto and Thomas. It's not all about individual players. This is a team game. We have to remember that. And I think, sure, maybe Thomas, he's the best player in Europe right now. But the combination of Boulder and June, I think it eclipses Thomas and Auto. These guys they're just so on the same page, and it's wonderful to stand behind them. They're constantly looking at each other's monitors. We are on LAN. They can do that here. They're always wondering where each other are. They're following each other around. It's so succinct. They're so together. And I think this is the focal point of the team. Boulder, he is that guy, apart from Rons. But Boulder and June together, I think they are really going to be leading the team. And that's why they're going to win, Turbo. That's why they're going to win.
We've had many a medic, actually, travel through the reigns of Witness along their long reign of TF2. Is Auto... I know you talked about that relationship, but it makes me wonder, if you keep saying Thomas is so great, is the problem with Auto? Are they missing the likes of Mula, maybe the likes of the old medics?
I think for medics there's a spectrum. All right. I mean, I know the map picks have just been flashed up in front of me.
All right. Give me I want to hear about this medic spectrum. Please tell me, and then we'll get into the map picks.
So there's a spectrum of medics. All right, gang. Over here, you have the Seeds disciples, okay? We have Seeds, June, and then on the other side, you have people like me, Pickles, and then maybe like Theos, okay? You come in a little bit, you've got sort of like an Auto here, not quite in the perfect area, but him and Auto and Mula, I think these are the sort of top two medics. June, she's there, maybe top three, but as the combination with Boulder, this is what I'm saying, it's the relationships between the players. But yes, I think the medics is important, and we have two top medics in this game coming up.
I see, okay. All I gathered from that was that you're certainly on the spectrum. Okay?
I am on the spectrum, absolutely.
Okay.
Aren't we all? We're all on the spectrum, so
Yeah. All right, speaking of some sort of chart or kind of like ranking, let's bring up those map picks again. All right. We've got Witness Gaming EU picking Metalworks, and we've got the Granary pick coming out from MANDEM. Obviously, there's all sorts of implications you could have from the bans. Gentlemen, Alba, is there anything that jumps out to you?
I mean, Witness banning Sultry is not that unexpected, I would say. It's quite a new map, and like Witness haven't been playing that many seasons in the past, like except the last one. The product from MANDEM, yeah, it kind of jumps out to me, like as a strange one. You have like really good, scouts on both teams, obviously, but yeah, MANDEM should be good on product, I feel.
Oh, I'm also thinking about how on product Witness have been struggling against teams. They went 3-2 with the MAC team earlier. They put Papi on scout for round one. They had the Ixie sniper, and it just wasn't working. Papi, he's a soldier player. I get it. He has great calls. He leads from the front. So I find it odd that MANDEM are banning this when I think they're probably arguably stronger DM-wise than sort of the Witness boys. And a map like product, it kind of caters to that,
Okay, so and obviously we land on Gully Wash out of all these other map picks and bans. If you had to kind of decide who kind of wins the map picks, Alba, who do you think kind of came out quite sitting pretty?
I mean, I would say it's such a brawl, so it's hard to say like who's gonna come out on top, and that's what we're all tuning in to see, like who's gonna come out on top in this brawl.
Right, you, Condawg, do you have an opinion at all about who won the map picks?
I mean, I think sort of the first two maps, Metalworks and Granary, they're quite soldier-centric, at least the mid sorts of things. We're going to be seeing some fast runs. Oh,
BeaVerN, come here. Is
BeaVerN,
that-
come take a seat,
come
mate.
sit on the. If you've got food, you're welcome on the couch.
Wow.
There
look
we
at
go.
this.
Oh.
Yeah, some for me.
You're
Oh,
late,
wow.
BeaVerN. You're late to the couch. We were just talking about Witness versus MANDEM. I'm just going to quickly ask you why you've got a panini in your hand. Who do you think's going to win?
Wait.
Who's going to win out of?
Easily MANDEM.
It's the MANDEM.
It's easily MANDEM. 100%.
Easily MANDEM.
MANDEM. My boy Balder, he has it easily.
All right, travel down the line. MANDEM, another MANDEM vote, maybe?
You're asking me if I'm voting MANDEM?
That's a silly question. You're right.
It's
Alba?
the MANDEM, boys.
I feel like I have to be the counterweight to all this MANDEM cheering, even though I love Balder. So I'm gonna say Witness takes it, but in 3 maps, and they're all gonna be really close.
Oh, it looks like I could be the tiebreaker. You know what? Or the time maker. I'm going to go with Witness. I'm going to play it safe. The amount of times I've been stung by voting against Witness. And yeah, so I'm going to go with them. I think we've got casters somewhat getting ready. I'm not sure if all the players are ready just yet, but I think we can throw it to casters and just have their... Oh, we're still waiting on players. So no players, no casters. So we're stuck here. Now you're stuck here on the couch with me, BeaVerN. But anyway, I guess we could talk a bit more broadly about the implications of this upper bracket win. Obviously, it's a lifeline here, Condawg. Is it actually like dangerous if they lose this game, or is it not that big of a deal?
I mean, you could say it's dangerous, Turbo, but I don't think it is too dangerous. These are the two top teams at this LAN. If they fall down to the bottom bracket, they're going to be coming out the likes of who? For Fence? These guys, the Frenchies, they got nothing this LAN. They've been really struggling, and you know, I don't think they're going to be struggling too much. These are the top two teams, as I've said, and I don't think I've got my point across, Turbo. MANDEM are going to win. Have I mentioned that at all? MANDEM will be taking this.
MANDEM.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, BeaVerN, I didn't quite hear that.
MANDEM.
Wow, that's crystal clear. Like, you could almost hear an echo in the room. I mean, give some copium here to me, Alba. Like, is there any sort of lifeline for the team that lose out on this? Is it probably better to give that lower bracket run? Maybe get more games involved, get more practice in.
I would say it's probably like it is an advantage to go through the upper bracket. Like I believe you have advantage in the map picks and bans for the final.
I think there's a little tiny advantage.
Yeah.
We're not quite full fat American where we're giving rounds out and like entire map pick advantage. I mean map advantages, but still a little advantage here or there.
And then also you get to play less games, which might leave you with more energy at the end of the day.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I mean, BeaVerN, like obviously you've been playing this LAN. You've had to go through the marathon of it. If you had a choice between like the advantages of playing more games, getting more practice in, or going through the upper bracket and having some free time, what would you pick?
When it comes to these two teams, I don't think it really matters. I think you would just want to take the straight road to the top and just be secure with that. Because, I mean, like, underdogs can take the win from you, so if you drop down, there is always going to be a chance that you could lose.
Yeah, strong points. Condawg, what
Can
about
I
you?
highlight something for you, Turbo? I think on this first map, Metalworks, we've got to be watching out for the soldiers with flair, Haunts and Rons. They've got these special jumps. They only bring them out for the big games, I've been told. You know, Papi and Hugo, as I said, they are Silente's disciples. They like to take it chill. They like to arrive to mid with 300. Haunts and Rons, they're going to be quick. They're going to be all over the doors. I think Lucas Tank, he's going to be struggling to get into mid. He's going to be locked into his own house. The presence on mid at the start in the early few seconds is going to be crucial. And I think that's where we're going to sort of see this first map be dependent on.
Yeah, Metalworks is going to be our first map. I'm kind of shocked here, Alba. I'm pretty sure once upon a time nobody really liked that map. Have you got your ear to the ground? Why do players start picking this now?
I think people just got better at like pressuring the different points of the map. Like it tended to be stalematey, like it still is to some extent. But I think people got a lot better at like how to pressure into the points and like get plays done.
And just to give it back to Condawg for a second, Condawg, is it really crucial that whoever wins tonight, they close it out in 2 maps? Or do you think like it probably leans a bit better for one of these 2 teams to get that 3rd map involved?
I think Turbo, obviously, if you look at the local time down in the bottom left, it is almost 10 o'clock.
Oh no,
you know,
it's my bedtime.
These are gamers, you know, they're usually up at these times, but they're not used to getting up early. These guys have been playing since 12:30 in the middle of the day. They're going to be getting tired, they're going to be getting fatigued. Some people just want a bit of food, a bit of tuck, you know. BeaVerN's ready, you know, and some of these gamers, they might want to get a cheeky pint in.
Yeah, BeaVerN, you're obviously a LAN veteran. You've been playing this for a while now, and you know the LAN experience better than anybody. Can you get tired from just playing way too much TF2?
Yeah, you could. Definitely you could. It is very mentally taxing playing the game and always being focused in the right moments or always being hyper-focused during the games. So the more games you play, the more tired you get. And you can get to the point where you're going to start making a lot of mistakes.
Don't worry, I can hear you, buddy. I can hear you, don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, strong points. Obviously, it's a game of concentration. It takes a toll on the soul, and my God, it's taken... All right, I guess I'm all concentrated now. I'm all done with the couch. I'm as hungry because I've been staring at that panini this entire time. I think we'll throw it over to our casters and see if they can concentrate on our first map of our upper bracket final. Take it away, boys.
Hello, it's us. The German propaganda cast, you could say. I mean, maybe if you want to do it that way. It's going to be an interesting match, Dom. This could be very much so the Grand Finals preview.
It could definitely be the precursor to that. Also, a little shout out to Samus on production. We have the full panoply of a German dominance coming in. But honestly, I feel like my ears were a little bit blocked. Could you really tell me again who's Condawg's standout player to you? Who's the soldier here on MANDEM?
I think he really, really, really likes Thomas.
Ah, yeah, okay.
I think Condawg is a huge fan of Thomas. I think he wants to see Thomas do as best as he possibly can.
Yeah.
And he's not contesting it at all, clearly. So he's I'm obviously telling the truth right now. So I think we're going to have to look out for him. And I actually think it's a very smart choice by MANDEM to not choose product, because whenever Thomas plays product, he does 300 DPM and gets 50 kills.
Yeah, that's quite of a hassle. I was talking to Samus. He talked to me some sweet words. He also said, well, they haven't evidently featured against each other so far, since they were set into 2 separate groups. So it is MANDEM versus Witness Gaming. At the inception of this entire LAN set, I'm a bit of a Witness Gaming fanboy, but honestly, I don't even know what to make of these teams anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if MANDEM just takes it outright here.
They have really, really turned up to LAN, especially today, and Witness have had their struggles as well. They have won almost everything they've done, but they haven't looked completely solid on everything, and we'll see as they take it away on Metalworks how it's gonna go.
I like how we have the cam here set onto Lucas as this initial mid-fight starts. I want to say maybe Witness Gaming is shivering, but warm. He is now warmed up and hot on his heels, and he is loading through. Let's see who is the initial first victim of this fight as Ixi tries to patrol upon his little blue crate area. That is great that he's controlling that still. Hans really only flings some damage projectiles forward, but no one really falls down so far.
Slow and steady, nobody committing too much hit. Everybody somehow staying alive, no big bombs hit either. Hans finally cleans up Papi before just dipping away for a little bit as Rons tries to bomb across, see if he can find something nice. Another one as well onto Ixi, beautifully done before getting cleaned up. And it's looking like a 1 mid from MANDEM off the back of those couple of picks. It's enough to make Witness run with the tail between their legs and to get MANDEM the mid, but it's certainly not as decisive as they would have wanted it to be.
That was absolutely wonderful. Ixi might feel icky afterwards, defiled, but that is how you win this first mid fight. Only 1 minute tick down, but we already see what is on the horizon for us as Hans is leaping and onto the medic, but Otto is jumping out like a bunny rabbit, hiding in his little hole, and you can't even catch him out.
Gets into the shutter just in time to be safe from that. But it's going to be an interesting one for MANDEM because they have to bust this somehow. They have to figure out somehow how to get through this hold. They are in the driver's seat. They have to make something work. One of these soldier bombs is going to have to actually amount to something. They're good at setting their soldiers behind. Rons and Hans do a pretty good job of that usually, but unfortunately, just getting a soldier in isn't enough, I think, against Witness at least.
Whoever rhymes is the key component here in the success of Rons and Hans, the rhyming duo. And let's see if they can gobble up some decent bars for ourselves here. Hans wants to shoot a little bit toward that Milvian bridge that you really like to visit, but now Hans slipping to this guy. No, it is the pipe room control, and Hans, goodbye my man, XD has you in his pocket.
And he's got some help from his soldier buddy as well, so that's going to be MANDEM having to backtrack. They don't want to deal with his flank getting around them, and that's good enough for Witness. They have gotten what they want. They've gotten themselves some breathing space and perhaps an opportunity as well to get a bit cheeky themselves. If they so desire, a counter sack out of their side. Certainly feasible, but they're not really that kind of team. They want to wait for their opponents to really take the initiative, do mistakes, and then pounce back when they have the opportunity. And that seems to be what they're exactly gearing up for right now. They're just sitting back. They're in content, waiting, baiting out maybe an exchange even.
But there was a pipe fling. I saw that on June. We didn't have the cam on June perpetually set, but we see one soldier leaping into the sky. That might be the distraction for Honte coming in. One rocket onto Otto, but he's so used to shoving that out of his face. The follow-up aggression though. Lucas is coming through. Rons is someone who falls as a victim to those stickies, and the players were not really sanguine enough to heal those damage classes out, and it's 2 players down.
Positively addicting this aggression out of Witness. Already onto the point.
Enticing.
That's a lot of damage. It forces out the Uber for June, wants to keep the rest of her team alive. It's gonna cause a couple of players to fall here with Ixie, Papi both going down, but unfortunately for them, the Uber is just gonna be that much better for Witness. It cleans up crucially June, and the rest of the team from MANDEM are so unhealthy as well that they won't really be able to contest as much. Obviously gonna try to get on auto as best they can, but ultimately, even if they get second, they won't be able to hang on to it forever. There is gonna be counter aggression out of Witness, even if it's gonna take a little bit. Yeah, it's an interesting situation.
It was a 5-3, however, and that transpositional arrow was fixed for so long, since you look at your screen and you might be caught in a deja vu. Am I in the correct dimension anymore? Only 30% Uber advantage on auto. They are set into their own endemic environment. On last, sitting there a little bit, you can see if you look at June and the Inzo Scout. Take your Gamma supplements, maybe try your hands on an Insotonic drink to up your own vitamins, but now it already slows down. Welcome to Metalworks, welcome to Europe.
This is where we sit on this map usually, and there's a good chance we will be here for the next 5 minutes before we go to a round reset, because Witness don't push out of last. Why push when you will lose? They just have the spirit of Cadus constantly looming above their heads, telling them, don't push unless it's a sure thing, it's a damn sure thing. And it's gonna have to be a sure thing. Thomas doesn't quite line up the shot he wants to, and MANDEM are trying to maybe get themselves a bit of an angle here, trying to get something in, because they need to bust this hold somehow. And Thomas Sniper might be scary, but a Hans bomb off the wall doesn't really get anywhere.
Oh, he's
onto the sentry at best.
Yeah, fantastic. That is how you elongate your jump. Sentry gun down is what you call in that scenario. It opens up the flank, however. Inzo's charging in on those Insotonic drinks. I was mentioning it. Very, very healthy instead. Turns the enemy team's hopes into little dust only. And now it is Boulder charging on the point, being bold early enough. Boulder now, and he hasn't even reached his final form yet. Baldus at the end, as June hasn't even popped yet.
They didn't have to. They just get so much cap time. They get the Uber out for free as well. It is looking wonderful if you're a MANDEM fan right now. It is a full Uber. They just have to wait a couple seconds for the scouts, and Witness knows this. They are trying to make sure that nothing happens here, and unfortunately for them, it is collapsing. They do not have what it takes.
Can Zeps hit? Oh, too close. No, it forces somehow a little bit the Uber. If you look at June's health numbers, she was quite well halved there, so that was it making sort of difficult to even pounce out. But someone wants to pounce out. The secondary rocket is not hit into the face, but it's a heavy weapon scar on the point. But it is not enough. The prior cap time was too much of a hurdle to deal with. Welcome to the taunt. This time around, not laughing as we were used by Mac, but 1-0 statement play. MANDEM taking this game and not giving it up.
coming out swinging with a big early
What a clip
round.
as well.
What a wonderful clip. Absolutely beautiful. That brings him up 1 round, and that's decently quick too. I mean, 6.5 minutes, that's a decently quick first round against Witness. Now, that's nothing done, nothing said and done whatsoever. Witness going to be able to clap back here fairly quickly if they have a solid mid-fight, but that's what it's going to boil down to. Demos just exchanging a little bit early on. Soldiers obviously taking some high ground. It's going to be a little bit slow to start with. No high bombs, no early aggression. Thomas the first to get chipped down by a bit of scout damage, and nobody else to fall just yet. They're just not finding any frags on the side of MANDEM. Matter of fact, I think this is just enough for Witness to decide, hey, our carry player's gone. Take it safe, whatever. We'll try again maybe in a minute.
It was also very crazy since Zems was perpetually being shot to so low on HP, but no one really committed onto him. And you saw Lucas had the health advantage as his health bars were a little bit more pronged up to higher fitness, but eventually the focus fire not coming through Zems. That was definitely a planned pipe hit on that person. Ron's the favorite soldier here, the favorite player of Condawg, as we heard before, is going to be turned into bloody bits. 2 players down, and that will definitely make it difficult to hold on to any sort of area.
They have a couple of cheeky stickies, but they're not going to be able to catch anything out. Witness rotating around a completely different side. Just going to be able to get through into mid here, and Sam's kind of caught alone. Meanwhile, the rest of the combo just rotate to second, go for the back cap, bait out the exchange as well, and whoever's caught outside of it will be nuked down. Unfortunately for MANDEM, though, they're not going to get just cut off.
It's a nuke!
They've capped mid as well. It is an absolute collapse. Lucas nukes them, and the midpoint has been lost already. Couple of soldiers up to try and change things up somehow, but no. Hans is already dead. Rons has at least escaped, but he's not going to do much from this backline, so it's looking good for Witness.
Now we're privy, or you might even put that into other words, witness to the success formula as the cadence is only ever increasing. They were able to snuck behind, and it was almost going absolutely downhill for them, looking very sour in that. We see the freedom stuff as Balder wants to free Otto of the yoke of having to carry around his own head, and that was so close! The shudder almost made him shudder, but they are still beaming players up enough, only 10% separate the Witness Gaming push.
And they want to make that happen as fast as they can. The longer they wait, the closer Juna's going to get to her own Uber, and it will come through straight away. But it's going to be on how well they utilize it. Spawn camping is obviously a big deal. You do shut down Hans outside of it as well. But you got to get onto the point. Where's the cap time? Where is the cap time? You have to stand on the point. The stickies aren't cleared. They finally clear them out. They get rid of Rons as well. There's going to be so much chance to get to a point now. The demo's taken care of. It's a free point, and there you go. With all the explosives cleared off, there you go. Witness clap back in just 3 minutes. And here we are, back at it again.
And here we see a wonderful. I mean, they're sort of saying to Lucas, who was their strongest player early on, how would you like 300, 400, let's make a 500 extra and bonus damage for you? That's very easy, honestly, but that looked so very weird as they were locking them in with in this spawn area, but no one really was going onto that cap. The stickies were enough of a daunting prospect to deter them from walking all over it, but so much set in a parity stake since one mid-fight win for Witness, 1 mid-fight win for MANDEM as the 3rd mid-fight commences.
Hans big deep up into the valley, does get onto the Lucas frag there. Papi goes down as well, and they find Hugo. So it is already a 1 mid from MANDEM. Again, no damage left on the field for Witness besides the scouts, and they're just there to escort Otto back to safety. Again, he lives, crucial for keeping Witness in this round. With D-Dice there as well, it would have been so much worse, but they also have nothing to respond to even second with. They have to set up on last already. Ixie getting ready with the sentry gun. Probably a dispenser armor in their future at some point as well. And Thomas back on the sniper, maybe able to catch somebody out here. This angle on Metalworks last. There's a couple of really nasty ones, and if you can get away with it, if they're not ready for it.
Oh. What will transpire in the distance?
Not quite.
No, too fast on his feet for Thomas. Anyway, as Balder is being beamed up to full fitness, and I don't really see them taking this initially even into this, since the stickies are presenting a daunting prospect, a looming menace, and this sort of just tackles you in your own advantageous position, as they always trust into the Hans and runs combo. But Lucas has his friend firmly set out with the traps, another sentry gun kill, and those soldiers can visit the respawn queue.
He had him read like an open book for that one. It's a classic trap spot. You see it time and time again, and it works because of that. Every soldier loves jumping off of that wall. Lucas knows that all too well, and That shuts it down immediately. Now, Witness not going to push out a last off of just that. They need something juicier, something bigger, and Thomas wants that angle into the second point here. Nice body shot onto Soldier, but that's not a kill, obviously. Even if Ronz is going to be low for a while, he'll be healed back up right away, healthy and ready to go. And clearing out this Lucas sticky trap as well before probably going for the same exact play we just saw. Another attempt at a bomb in here, perhaps find that sentry gun, and we'll see how it goes.
It isn't even that ponderous, it is just very, very well structured, since they know if you mess up one time, then the enemy team will so easily recombobulate and walk all over you. Ronz shoots the complementary opposing player out, and that enables his entire team to walk out even more so. Sack bomb! Sack bomb! What a sack bomb! And there we go, the force comes out, and wonderful conversion rate.
That's what you like to see. It's happened before. It happened again. They get the force out with a double soldier sack. Now they just have to hang on to it. MANDEM have to not lose their own Uber. It happened last time, unfortunately. They have to make sure June hangs on here. They have to make sure no early forces or anything like that. They got to get to that last, and obviously Witness are still keen to get that Uber out of the equation. Thomas aggressive with these sniper angles, but I really don't know if it's time for that at this point. I think they just have to be ready. Lucas on the cannon as well.
How big do you want your gun to be to bonk them in and sort of try to deny the space? One bonk, or when one cannonball is already detonated onto the opposing team, but papi is caught in this disarray of actions during this transitional phase, and Ixi now tries to equalize things greatly here to serve some parity in their own last hold, but the players are falling down. It's on to Lucas, who has to stick it out. It's heavy on the point. Thomas is gunning. He is turning. He is showing what he can do, but it is Sams with the pipes. The plumber is here, and that is lights out.
I found the focus on the heavy just in time. Without taking down Thomas there, that could have been a very, very clutch hold, but they find what they need to. That's MANDEM going up around again, and well, we've got about half of the map time left, so anything to play for. But Witness, they're not in the driver's seat as much as they would like to be, probably. They're playing from behind so far, and their mids have not been looking too convincing thus far either, so they really have to start stepping it up a little bit. They want to have a chance at coming back into this Metalworks map. For the time being, same old for these mid-fights, just a little bit of peeking and prodding, a little bit of spamming and chipping before perhaps a soldier bomb out of Hugo. Huge bomb, trying to get as high as possible.
Aerial dominance! Aerial dominance!
Yes.
Aerial dominance rips off the face of
anyway.
Juno, but it is a counter-suicidal pact that they have signed, though both medics out of the equation. 3 versus 3, double scout, one demo. Lucas is taking Inzo right straight into the respawn queue. You can traverse back, my friend, and that mid should be secured for Witness Gaming.
Not as decisive as they would want it to be, but crucially, at the very least, both medics do go down. It is equal in all situations, but the fact that Witness will cap this point, and honestly, there's a good chance that we might just see a second mid-fight if, well, MANDEM wanted to be aggressive enough, but they chose not to. The faster respawns weren't enough to get them going. They're just going to hang out on second. They know what is going to be coming their way. These Witness offenses are very, very scary, and once they find what they need, just that crucial pick that makes them go, let's go, that's all they're looking for. They're getting ready in position already, and you know damn well there's going to be a soldier barreling down these lines of MANDEM sooner rather than later.
The Ubers have so far equalized, as no one really has an edge here. We haven't seen any sort of clear-cut Uber forces. Well, maybe he's still force right now, papi, but no, the body block comes out from Inzo. Boulder also has a very loaded through scattergun for his opposing soldier. He is the hard counter, and he is showing that he doesn't have this reputation for nothing, as they're sort of backing away from it. Hugo only bombs the environment.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just a bit of a zoning bomb. Gotta do it sometimes. Just claim whatever ground you are owed and take what's yours, as they just reset, see what they can do. A single bomb isn't enough for either team to really budge off of. You're gonna have to try a little bit more, and perhaps you'll know if Hugo and papi have truly assimilated into the same sort of culture that papi had with Syl when we see the first boyfriend bomb come out of these two at some point. Maybe not on this map, but you know damn well
June
they're rearing for it.
June took 70 damage, and that sort of only forced her out of the fight for this early of a conversional rate as Hans not really gaining the speed, gaining the traction, gaining the ground. Thomas, however, shoots at the opposing Hans, and that again helps Witness to traverse more back into it. Yes, it allows the space for papi. Rons is finished off. Ixi wins this 1v1 against Inzo.
Uber is forced. That's all that matters here. Witness, if they want to go in now, they easily can. Their Uber's going to be so much better. Ideally, they don't want to use it. Otto doesn't have to. He's got enough trust in his team to keep him safe from that pesky Boulder Scout, and they're just going to keep rolling this straight into last. The defenses are still scrambling. There's going to be a few stickies on point, but they're already cleared off. Thomas just stands on it.
So much cap time.
The cap time is so high already, and the Uber comes out as well. They're just going to have to clean up these MANDEM players as best they can, and they're struggling a little bit, but I think they're going to get there in the end. They are willing.
Thomas is farming right now. He's on a 4K. It allows the bomb for Hugo to come in, and let's hit the air shot. Let's hit the damage. Let's judge the Uberstar. And 2-2 tied out. How many balls, how many needles can you have in your face? But it works out since so much damage was plugged onto their own carry players. But crazy. Don't you hate it if you hit the craziest air shot? But unfortunately the Scout is Ubered, so it doesn't really wield the avarice of it. But we see the nuke at the end, and that was a clutch, really clutch push, but it worked out.
Hugo comes in just in time to clean up what his team had left him. And that's 2-all once more. 12 minutes left. It's as close as these teams can be matched thus far. And it's hard to call who's ahead and who's behind and who's really catching up and who's pulling ahead. But for now, we're just back to another mid-fight.
MANDEM was so slow. MANDEM was so slow, and Lucas could easily pipe that down, but no, the double synced rocket takes June out of it. It is March. It is not yet June season, and Zams tries to plug the little pipes forward. Nothing is found, however, since the positional advantage firmly in the grip, in the ever-increasing grip of Witness Gaming.
Turns out your medic dying does not matter if you just kill the entire enemy team anyway, so if anything, MANDEM salvaged themselves a chance to hold here. At the end of the day, the Ubers are equal. They killed quite a few players on the side of Witness. They're going to be a bit slower to try and get into the second. Matter of fact, Inzo's trying to fight it as well, and just his presence is enough to just hold them back for a little bit. Matter of fact, there might be even a little bit of a cheeky flank. I might have seen just a player behind. Yes, it is. Inzo has indeed actually slipped in at this point. He's just being a bit of a nuisance, bit of a mosquito behind here to perhaps pull away some attention from this Witness team, and it may be enough to divert them ever so slightly if they can coordinate something with the rest of the team that is here, because at the end of the day, if Witness just decide to hold W, they're missing a player inside of MANDEM. It's 5v6 at that point, so...
He's trying the nasty net. We saw that earlier from a flick, but it is definitely liable to contingency as the 1v1, though he can win the 1v1. You have the pistol. That's not only a very annoying net, no, that net also has grown teeth, and Boulder wants to shoot, wants to see where those stickies are positioned, so June can safely, very safely walk in. One pick advantage is enough for them to take the space. Very slow, very methodical. Lucas not in this realm of existence.
And they actually get the force out of the side of Otto as well. He eats a bit too much damage, wants to keep his team alive as best he can. In the tail end of it, Zams, nice little combo there onto Hugo. Clean that up. Make sure nobody else gets onto your medic. Unfortunately, Thomas tries to have a word with it as he just runs straight into his face and actually gets her.
He gets there. He ultimately gets there. That is absolutely crazy how he is just plucking those plays out of nowhere, and it enables its team. Yeah, I don't even need that medigun on the ground. No, I am building way better than you anyway, Otto is saying, but that most probably is one of those defining scenarios where it's very difficult to overcome this obstacle.
That's why we consider Toe to be the best of the best to graze European TF2 in terms of scouts. And again, a dangerous sightline to be in. Boulder almost managing to line that up. Not quite this time either. Witness in the driver's seat. The ball is in their court. They could go up in score. Make this a sure thing before even having to go to the Golden Cap. If they so desire, this could be their map very, very shortly. Say this push goes well as the Uber comes through. Nice little denial by the Sentry plus the Sniper, but is it enough to keep them off the point for long? A little bit of cap time. Now that the Ubers have faded, it's going to be in the post-Uber fight. How will MANDEM respond? Will they get players
will probably crate on the ground indeed, and Hugo as well. No soldiers, no Ixi either, and it was the Heavy sort of lurking around the corner, and that was enough as a daunting prospect to completely shut them down, but Lucas is still in. Doesn't have sticky traps though. Set up one nice pipe, but might not deter them enough as June has has 50% advantage as we speak, gradually trying to walk forward and ameliorating this very dangerous settlement that we saw played out, holding on with a hair.
Just about keeping it in there. And now that a bit of Uber ad is maybe giving MANDEM a bit of confidence here as they try to take their Uber into the enemy combo. Unfortunately for them, Witness are just holding S so efficiently. That reverse gear has got a couple of extra speeds to it, and it's enough to get them out of harm's way before immediately leapfrogging back forward with that Uber threat of their own. And they don't have to use, because MANDEM didn't have the presence to even try and get an early force out. They're just going to have to run away. They see a Thomas bull storming them down, and they're just scared shitless. They want out of there.
They are not that content with themselves, I'm telling you that much on MANDEM. I don't even want to say hazardous approach, but only idly played, not even lazily, but now Thomas is the main recipient of this healing beam, and he's glowing, he's beaming with life. Zems is not beaming with life afterwards. No, he's being taken to the graveyard, my friend. Trap card activated, another player falling down. Lucas is someone who is dying in this disarray of actions, so it's a 2 versus 1 trade.
It doesn't matter though, because they're still finding the crucial picks. That's all that matters. There's a couple of players remaining. Sure, there's a heavy still alive even when they cap the point, but he's nowhere near to block. He doesn't have the health to contest, and it does not matter in the end. Witness are going to go up around, and we're starting to get to the point where...
But he was taunting! I just realized the scout, instead of protecting his own medic, I don't know if he was sort of just expecting Otto to die in that position, but that was just crazy. June to die in this position, but that was crazy.
That. They're up around now. 7 minutes left on the clock. If Witness want to slow things down, this is their opportunity. They're up around now. They can take the game at their own pace. They can dictate how this game will go, how fast they do things. And as this mid-fight goes on, they're already looking a lot better in terms of health, at the very least for a while, before Lucas eats a bit of damage. But no frags either way just yet. And
Witness Gaming, they can't leave out of their own yard area. It wasn't even players defecting. No, they were never in to begin with. And Ixi has also unloaded his shots, but not really finding anything. June is a little bit positioned behind the point, and those soldiers can't bomb the medic. They can bomb the ancillary players, however, and that is creating the space, creating the damage, creating those players charging in. Inzo tries to knock some teeth out, and Otto is still in peril. He's still being chased out. Papi has to block, but Otto completely alone. 94%, only 50 HP on him, and that detonates a Witness Gaming medic out. MANDEM want to take it to the tie. Also, midpoint should be nice.
Yeah, I mean, they probably want to cap mid at some point. It would be advisable. The goal of the game, in case you were curious, is to capture the points before your enemy does, or much rather capture your enemy's points as well. And the faster you do is, the better your chances are of winning. So it's an interesting strategy for MANDEM to take this long to do it, but I suppose there might be some sort of interesting strategy. Like maybe this is the ace up the sleeve.
I thought the point of the game is to kill the enemy medic and taunt.
I mean, that's also possible. Matter of fact, Otto is taking this opportunity to just run crits. It's an interesting idea. I mean, the crits on the last hold here, it is taking a little bit for MANDEM to really mount the push. And if they get these crits going as a response to this inevitable Uber push out of MANDEM, then we could be looking at some laser beams, a little light show in a few seconds. But for now, the Uber comes through, and we'll see how well this goes for MANDEM.
A lot of juggles early enough, and Hans is detonating Hugo perpendicular dominance, and it comes crashing down in the disfavor of Witness Gaming.
On, though.
Oh, you see the fireworks, but the fireworks are in the disadvantageous position for Witness Gaming. Only Otto left alive. Zems can gobble up another health pack. Solemn vow, and damage is done. Harm is done where no harm should be done, but that is Witness Gaming taking it to the tie.
Well, by losing, I suppose. That's a good way of putting it. 3-all. 5 minutes left to play for. It is a hot, hot, hot match. And this is only the first map, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. This is only the first map of this series, so no matter what, we're in for some more action after this, no matter how this one ends. And right now, it's looking like a golden cap might be in the cards if neither team can get another round in the next just 4-ish minutes. So this mid-fight will be a nice tale teller.
So alone. Zems was sold for what, one swatty? What was that? You get our demo. We don't even gain any money for that. Worst trade of all time. Inzo in the sky, and another complementary player follows him to that graveyard. Sepulcher pillaging on the field, but it is June hurrying, scurrying out alive. Also sorry for the MANDEM fanboys. Also, when I think back of Condawg's hands, maybe MANDEM as well, since they were signed there. But I mean, MANDEM a little bit on the back foot now.
Just ever so slightly. But not all is lost. This is not in any way a losing position. Hugo trying to go for a cheeky high bomb there, but spotted too soon, won't be able to gain the ground. Just has to meet back up with his team. MANDEM have an Uber here. They can easily hold this if they play their cards right. If they get their defenses set up, Inzo's already on the NG. Boulder on the sniper as well, seeing for that angle once more through the shutter. Even just a scout frag here could slow Witness down. Just slowing this down now. MANDEM are going to have a hard time coast-to-coasting this all the way. But if you can take it to a golden cap, now it's more about not losing rather than straight up winning. And Witness know that this is their time to shine. Hugo tries to go for a high bomb, just gets sniped by the sentry. And there's not much follow-up beyond that. They find it, I guess. And Ron just cuts off Lucas.
Lucas is trying to peek out, but the only thing he's finding there is salvation in the fact that he is straight sent to heaven, my friend. Boulder was not really finding the cheeky angle that he was searching for. Also, XC sneaking in. Does he have it in this watch? No one is really looking at him. And Zems is dealt with. It was also only an Inzo pop here. You have an engineer, you have an Uber, but that is shambolic.
An absolute display of the NG Uber to try and at least, well, not drop, I suppose, but dropping your whole team, Ubering the NG, that's about as bad as it can get. Probably, arguably worse for the mental than just straight up dropping for some, but Witness are gonna be licking their teeth. That's a beautiful one to try and get going, and now all you gotta do is keep it together for long enough. Don't get sniped by Boulder, keep it clean, keep it easy, get that Uber in there as best as you can. You know they're going to pop around this corner early. They're not even going to try to get caught. The cannonballs are out for Sams as well, but it's not going to be enough. Now, are they going to get caught? He gets caught again!
Sams, what are you doing, my man? He couldn't even leave out of the shutter, and that is significantly going to oppose a daunting prospect to their own efforts of defending this Witness Gaming with only 2 minutes on the clock, are taking it to a 4-3 lead on Metalworks.
Not all is lost. With the pace of this game, I would very much not be surprised if MANDEM clap back with another quick round here. It is feasible, absolutely. 2 minutes for a round. We've seen it happen. It is totally something they can do. And if they want to make it interesting, Witness will show up to mid and not just stall this one out, because this is anybody's game still. MANDEM just have to have a good mid-fight on their hands, and they will be right back in this. As it stands, health is looking pretty good for them. They're taking it a bit slower, trying to be methodical, and again, they've got Witness just cubbied up in this valley area. They can't really get them out of there at all, and all they're waiting for is one big soldier-coordinated bomb, trying to get some more damage in there somehow.
MANDEM is slowly and steadily turning the screws here, turning this mid-fight into their own advantage. Obviously losing sort of 20 seconds on that mid-timer, and that could definitely bite them in the back, since only 1 minute to go here to take it to a tie, which is all that you can really hope for. And it was mostly Boulder wielding Chekhov's gun. Maybe he is also unlocking it as this entire game concludes here. Rons is trying to peek through this alleyway side, but they have to be fast. They have to convert it.
They have to get this going, and Rons just jumps straight into Lucas's trap. He knows that play. He's seen it happen. He knows what Rons likes to do. Gets him shut down immediately. And again, they're wasting the time for MANDEM here. 40 seconds to get 2 points against a fully stacked team with full Uber as well. You just have to absolutely send it.
Otto's on half HP. Otto is on 50 HP. I don't know how he's still holding on there, but he is keeping in the shutter, and he's keeping them so much at bay. You might even not want to enter from the sea, and Hugo is only catching a few stray shots into his face, but Otto ultimately has to use.
Doesn't matter anymore. 17 seconds on the clock. Even if they get second, they have to teleport onto the last point. None of these frags matter for anything but
they can teleport to the last point. Imagine if they have 5 seconds more.
Okay, I'm eating my words because it's only Ixie left alive. There's a chance. There's a real chance here.
No, they're not capping second! And he is doing the taunt. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You have been visited by the backcap gang, or the backcap block gang, I should rather say. What a fantastic shenanigan to end this fight.
Absolute cinema. What a map that was. It's as close as you can get it without going to a golden cap. And I think we know why we consider these two teams to perhaps be Europe's finest, why we perhaps consider this to be a grand finals preview. So many clips, so many highlights from the match that we've just witnessed, and bear in mind, that was just map 1.
I'm bearing that in mind. I can't wait for any more consequential action that will come out now as we see this interlude here. I also don't know how many needles, like 3 or 4. But anyway, we see this interlude here of fantastic frag clips. I want to have the cursory glance though shed onto our desk, as they have definitely also witnessed this fine match.
What a fine match indeed. It was coming down to the last minute here, and Condawg, did you have your ears, did you have any eye line on the final moments for MANDEM there?
Turbo, you know I'm a fly on the wall in the MANDEM room, and my God, in those last final moments, Zoe, on second point, he's like, no, who left me? And it was so saddening as the rest of them, the rest of the squad were on last already.
And meanwhile, I was in the witness group, and you know what they were saying in there? Papi raised up, he's slamming the desk, and he goes, I love this guy, and he hugs Ixie, he raises him up. They feel happy, they feel probably feelings they've not felt a long time here for Witness, and that is a close match of TF2. Faust, you remember the dark days of Witness just kind of towering over everyone, but now they seem to bleed, but not bleed enough. Is there still hope for MANDEM at all?
I mean, I think having a game as close as that with a team of Witnesses quality just goes to show how good MANDEM are as well. And it coming right down to that last second with Ixie making just the perfect block on that second point and throwing out a taunt for good measure, as you have to do. You know, it really did come down to that one moment in the final seconds. So there is a good chance that MANDEM will push them again on this next map.
Condawg, how are your boys supposed to, and obviously, well, just all of the team are supposed to just like pick the pieces up after a game like that? Do you think they have the mental fortitude to hold this all together?
I mean, Turbo, it's a mixture of emotions. Obviously, they did lose the match, okay, or the map, sorry.
Steady.
Hold on, hold fire, hang fire. But these guys have shown they can go toe-to-toe with the Europe's best. You know, they haven't been able to play each other yet this LAN. This is their first map against each other. And they've shown that it's really nail-biting. It's so close between the two teams. And, you know, whenever we get to that map too, I think the MANDEM guys might bring it back.
Well, if they can go toe-to-toe, maybe we should look at the logs. Maybe if they go toe-to-toe in the logs, maybe we could have a bit more, like, hope in our heart and whatnot.
Would you like another little tidbit, Turbo, while we wait for the logs?
There you go. We bought them enough time. All right. So we're looking at the logs here in Straino vision, in bad 2020 vision of my eyesight. And anything jumping out at you, Condawg, while you buy me time?
Yeah, don't you worry, Turbo. Obviously, we've got to look at the stats. And to quote Ron's himself, after 10 minutes, he was like, guys, I'm having a shit game. And if we look at the logs, he wasn't having the best. You know, I've been telling you all day long, he's the best soldier in Europe. Look at the logs, 10 and 20, 188 DPM. That's not what I expect from my man. It's not his map, you know, but when you're going up against the likes of Ixie and Thomas, who may be the best European scouts, you know, he's going to struggle. He's going to struggle, but I believe in my boy. He's going to bring it back next map. Don't worry about it.
Faust, you've got a keen eye. What can you see from the logs here that looks a bit strange to say these are the top two teams in the EU right now?
Yeah, it's interesting to see the difference in the medic deaths as well here. You know, they are pretty close, I guess, with June, just with that one extra death there.
There was a drop coming out of June.
I read the wrong log at first, which is why I missed that one. But no, that actually adds a lot of sense. No, they are quite similar. But looking by the damage as well, Lucas was really laying it out there, wasn't he? And you know, having a lot of impact. But Zams was no slouch. You know, he had a couple of really huge plays, like that last, when he just seemed to hit absolutely everything and completely just, you know, took his team through to the next part.
Condawg, we were talking about these agents of chaos in the previous MANDEM games, but I see no chaos. I see no agents. Where have they gone? Where's Haunts? Where's Rons? What's happening to them? Why are they neutered this game?
I think they are there, Tobo, but they're just so slippery with it that maybe you don't even notice. They're flying around out of the POVs of the cast, and they're doing bits. Don't worry, I'm in the room. Ron's here is just smoothing all over the map, using his crispy rocket jump skills. But yeah, one thing I would like to highlight: huge moment in the map. Obviously, June, not known for dropping,
Actually dropped, I know, I couldn't believe it.
Crispy meat shot from either
Yeah,
Ixie or Toe.
Tomas jumping into 3 players and coming out the other end. I mean, you say they go toe-to-toe. They don't even go toe-to-toe, Mass.
It was one of those moments where the MANDEM team were a little bit bewildered. They were looking around. They were looking to their team leader, Boulder. They were like, should we go back? Should we go forward? Should we take this Uber? And Boulder, he was like, no, we hold our position. And then Tomas, he runs in. And, you know, a quick little Timmy, 2 shots. And Juniors drop that Uber all over the floor.
Faust, we're going to Granary now. It's completely a different beast to Metalworks. Is MANDEM in trouble here? Like, obviously, Witness want to slow down the game more, and it seems they seem to be better at this sort of slower-paced game. Or am I coming off untouched? I mean, out of touch here.
I think a lot of it is going to come down to those mids. You know, the dominant team on these mids is going to be able to set the pace of the game going forwards from that point. And, you know, if they're quite slow mids and they sort of, you know, both mids survive, they slow the game down off the back of that, then, yeah, Witness are very good at controlling that and then just sort of slowly working their way forwards if they need to. But, you know, it does come down to who is getting those early picks on mid and which team really wants to be the driving force. Because it is easy to just roll those points forwards if you get the picks on mid. It's such a long way from the spawn doors that, you know, you can keep that momentum going.
Big, long rollouts, tiny doors. What is Rons and Haunts to do on a map like Granary, Condawg? Are they just going to have to lean on other aspects outside of your favorite players on this team?
I mean, Turbo, I want to look away from Haunts and Rons. I know I've been harping on about them all day long, but I actually want to talk about the Witness Soldiers, because I think this is one of those maps where the Silentes disciples, they do perform better. It's one of these maps where, with these sort of narrow chokes, Papi, he knows how to hold a door. He's been doing it for years. There's actually, in Yard, the famed Papi spot. On that little ledge, looking right into Garage, that is where Papi stands every single time when he's holding Yard. And I think this might be a little bit slower than that last map. Obviously, we had 4-3, very close. I think it's going to be, you know, maybe a 2-0, maybe a golden cap on our cards, Turbo.
All right, well, if I had to actually, you know, pin you down to an answer, if I had to, you know, get the inside scoop from my boy Twitch chat, what scoreline are you predicting for this Granary map? Keep in mind, it is a Witness map pick.
Turbo, I know you're thinking, what are you going to predict? I'm going to give you what I hope for, and that is a 4-2 to MANDEM. We love the MANDEM boys. They're going to be bringing it back in map 2. We're going to map 3, I can promise you that.
Faust, be the voice of clarity, the voice of reason. What do you see being the center of this outlook?
I can really see this one going to a golden cap. I could see a 2-2, you know, a little bit a slower game, a few less rounds, and coming out to a golden cap, which I think that MANDEM might just be able to take off a bit of momentum and take us to map 3.
You know what? I'm gonna take your lovely answer. I'm gonna add a little bit of garnish to it. I don't think it's just gonna be a golden cap. I think it's gonna be a golden mid. Yeah, I know. We've been seeing them all day. We need to realize that these golden mids are here to stay. And yeah, I think these teams are taking it extremely seriously to the point that they'll be frozen in their little choke points and they can't close out any games. So yeah, golden mid. That's my diagnosis. Whether or not we've got all the players in, whether they are frozen in the toilets or outside having a smoke break is another thing. We've got 12 in server, so I think we should head over to our 2 casters, don't you? I think so.
That would be us. Thank you very much.
Hands
Condawg.
on for Handem. He has sold that line to me. Condawg is so... he sort of, you know, he surprised me. I'm now a Handem fanboy.
Really now? It's just that easy.
It is.
Just
No,
that easy to
it is.
convert him.
No, it is not that easy. But he's just such a dominant force, honestly. But anyway, we see our our analysts leaving there in the background. But as we head straight toward Granary, Witness Gaming might have taken the first map, but MANDEM will probably and 100% show their prowess.
I mean, they have to if they want to go back into this. If they want to, well, now in some ways upset this Witness run to the finals, right? I think heading into this LAN, everybody is expecting Witness are gonna be in the grand final, but deciding on how they end up there, I think is gonna have a big impact. As they mentioned before we even started with map 1, doing that lower bracket run is a very double-edged sword. On the one hand, yes, you get a lot of warm-up in, but you also get a lot of fatigue going. So if you want to save yourself that tomorrow. And if MANDEM want to put in the work now to not have to put it in later,
you only get to know your team better, and some people might not want that. But I'm trusting into those two compartments to have very decent synergy built for them. I only wanted to dabble a little bit since I was playing Medic before. Sometimes I want to always look at the sort of Medic heads up, and we saw it was almost a parity in the sort of deaths from Auto compared to June. But in my humble opinion, as so far as I have monitored this game, June sometimes caught without a patient. I mean, you know what just sprang to mind? Uber on an engineer dropping players. Yeah, she's not going to be happy with that.
Yeah, that's something that's probably going to live on your mind for a while. And, well, it looks like the teams are keen. They're rearing to go. I hear a countdown in my ears, and I see players on my other monitor ready to roll out. So we're getting started with Granary. Witness take map 1 of Metalworks, but it is all to play for MANDEM to come back in this, give Witness a run for their money, get themselves a spot in the finals guaranteed, as they have to try and see how they can kick off this first mid-fight on Granary.
Let's get ready to rumble, as we have some stickies flung over, so I have to talk quickly. I don't have a copyright strike on me, but now it is Ron's flying a little bit from afar. Thomas already shot very low, not what you want on your spearhead of this entire aggression, as the pronged trident spear doesn't really come into play early enough, so only then those trades are officiated. But Hugo's bombing in. Can he find the second rocket? No, the scouts are blocking the damage, but it is another soldier coming in, taking a hot, sweet detour, collecting Jude in his own inflated pocket.
Yeah, that's I think that works. That works. Papi with the little bit of follow-up damage, enough to clean up that medic frag, and that is going to leave MANDEM rearing for a medic pick of their own. Auto eating a bit of damage as well. He's going to be feeling the heat for a while, but eventually that war of attrition should favor Witness here. Even losing Ixi, even if they have to give up mid for a while, they're perfectly content with having this full Uber in their pocket, ready to go. And ideally, MANDEM respect that. MANDEM obviously want to see if they can get an early force out, or at least get something out of here. But if they overstay their welcome, this could really, really come back to, well, reap what they sow, basically. And as the Uber comes in, they have to catch him out in garage immediately. Zams eats a lot of damage, but does escape. Does manage to evade Lucas's stickies for the time being, and nobody else is going to get caught in that whatsoever. Zams was the pick they were going for. They couldn't get him. They obviously didn't get June, and it's looking not that great for Witness now all of a sudden.
Able to circumvent those damage sources, and if you would have looked at those players offline, you can see already digging some trenches, and that made it very difficult to traverse back into the MANDEM faction as they pop here onto Zams, a little bit juggled early on, doesn't really find a venue. The joint venture of failure is, well, not failure after all, since that was just a lot of damage sources, honestly, and juggling him out. Runs is equalizing the flank a little bit.
Yeah, they try the exact same thing. And
what is Papi doing?
Hugo going down, they actually find it. Hugo. Papi does.
Nice! No! Papi, what are you doing, my man?
Well, it's not his fault. Auto didn't hit the arrow.
Okay.
If anything, he's going to be the one to blame for that one. But it doesn't matter.
fault.
Inzo walks into a sticky trap, so any aggression that MANDEM we're going to have has immediately been stunted. A wrench in the spokes, so to say. And matter of fact, with that full Uber in tow, maybe Witness are actually feeling themselves a bit of an opportunity here. Even without Papi to guide them, they are probably going to be trying to at least claim some ground on mid here. Thomas dodging and weaving through the rockets. Lucas reading the charge as well. Hugo there to follow up with a lot of damage. Juicy rocket to just deal some damage. Hans is in behind in the meantime.
But Crispy 1v1 maybe to take. No, it is Hans really prying up on pride, but ultimately Papi claims that victim for himself, and Balder is charging on Auto. The upsurge of players will come out as the follow-up aggression. He's urging them forward. The surge force, but the jolt force sort of is taking a little bit of a breather back. We don't want to overchase.
We don't want this to be overstretched. It's only so elastic, that whole team combo. You know, you want them to relax every once in a while. And Ixi, in the meantime, has managed to slip in behind. He has not been spotted. There's a chance that Soldier could have seen him. Now they know he's there, stepping onto that point. But they also have to worry about it, because that Ixi behind is a bit of a menace. He is in his natural habitat, wreaking havoc on the backlines of the enemy team. And Witness really want to make use of this as Hugo bombs right through. Unfortunately, though, a pipe is all he's met with. Ixi gets cleaned up by Inzo as well. And suddenly, Witness are going to be on the back foot.
Suddenly 2 players perish from the scene, and it might make it difficult. Even still, you own this point, you own this high ground control, and you have some juicy stickies flung over. It is papi coming through, collapsing onto Samus, who is perpetually shot so low on HP, but
Lives.
On the beach, you can tell, surfing out.
Just taking it easy. Matter of fact, they find Lucas in that entire scramble as well, so they're just going to keep this rolling forward. MANDEM on a little bit of a roll right now. The boulder is not stopping as he leads the charge, and, well, they're going to have an easy time maybe getting into this yard. There's still a Lucas missing. Hugo tries for high bomb, just gets absolutely annihilated by the scouts, running him down, and Witness have to keep backing off. Hunt is so aggressive. He might get a frag. No, it does not quite get the clean up there onto papi that he wanted.
But the might catch out.
He dies anyway.
Indeed. So much damage, and it was not quite early enough that they were already gobbling through the lunchbox area. And that was quite the daunting prospect. Samus tries to pry his little stickies forward from such an equidistance that they are trying to keep. Hugo is behind Samus, who does not notice him, but the force is eventually out.
And that is what they wanted in the end. If it takes half the team to do it, it may very well do so. June has an Uber. She's got 2 scouts, keeping her safe and sound. There's nothing getting between that MANDEM Uber and the rest of Witness. Even if they have to retake second here, they're gonna be waiting for that Uber to come their way. And they know they can't hold the second point aggressively. They have to be very, very careful here. Their best outcome is getting a force out of MANDEM here very, very early. But if MANDEM get them close, this could very well turn very, very quickly as well. And they're really trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Rons gets baited into the pack. That is stickied up. Unfortunately, Lucas has that one under control, and they will cap second off, but Witness have bought themselves a lot of time here.
Both teams are content how that passage of play went out. Honestly, I mean, it was MANDEM slowly taking the approach. You saw how Hans was secure in the top area, Rons ultimately falling, but conversely, Otto builds his remaining Uber percentages up enough, so both teams having Uber in the banks currently, and Thomas wants to stare down this right shutter, but no one really is peeking out of it so far. You can see here June is only really healing players. Ixi on that engineer class, clopping up the building. Thomas on sniper, very cookie cutter.
It's an interesting angle as well. You can certainly catch somebody out if they try to peek a little bit too aggressively, but I think MANDEM have other plans. They seem to be looking at this other side a little bit more, and that's might see, you know, some cheeky sacks coming the way of the Witness side sooner or later. They do have to worry about those stickies as well. They really want to make sure this doesn't go south if they try to sack themselves in. And for the time being, we're at a bit of a standstill. Teams staring each other down. It really is trench warfare on this Granary so far. Both teams just fortifying themselves, seeing if they can get away with anything. The stickies will not claim anything. Samus tries to go for the sticky jump in.
And oh, that was the serve though. Otto, no follow-up damage. Also, Ixi with the Frontier Justice, keeping his own Frontiers clean, crisp, and off the opposition. Anywho, that is a 2-man sack. And Thomas now finds the very juicy small head of a boulder. Your bald head is rolling on the ground, my friend. And Lucas tries to have some stickies pronged forward here. Rons is controlling the banana sidebow elbow area. And, well, suddenly only Witness Gaming claiming the second point.
Yeah, they get in pretty contently. And crucially, Boulder seems to be interested in a spy play here. Moving on forward, I mean, there's certainly an opportunity for this. Witness might not be ready for it, but they also could keenly be aware that something like this is possible, and they will probably check for it. It's also rocking the duck watch instead of the good old cloak and dagger. We've been seeing that more lately. We've been seeing spies rocking that stock invis watch. It's a lot faster, but you need to time it extraordinarily well. And Witness, they're taking their time on last, so Boulder really has to wait for his opening here.
They're also, oh, there we go. Thomas finds a secondary headshot. He has not died yet since, and that is a 2K for him. It only really tranquilizes. Oh, that is Rons walking into a sticky trap, and Lucas was sort of luring his friend in, and Boulder again on this little bit of a niche reskin of the invisibility watch. We saw that I'm not your mainstream spyman, I'm a very professional niche spyman. He's picking up the health, or rather the ammo pack I should rather say, but very, very sturdily set up. Oh,
That's going to be a nice stab onto Thomas. He
Spy
claims
counter
those.
sniper.
The actual counter for Sniper, we figured it out. People complain Sniper's too strong. Well, you just saw the answer. It's that easy. You just stab him in the damn back. Get rid of him. That's why the Razorback exists. We're going to see Thomas on that now, guaranteed. It's a game of counters at the end of the day, and he's right back in there with his Invis Watch. They don't know that he might commit to more, but they're certainly going to be
But he's running out of cloak moves and counter moves, but only for so far. He stepped the sentry gun, and now Hans is leaping in. The sentry is still zapped, but ultimately a little bit of a confined area and a little bit of, well, delay on that coordination.
Look at that. We're just holding. Witness are ruling this point with an iron but fair fist so far. They're not letting it get away from them. Boulder not committing to a second spy round, although they wouldn't expect it twice in a row. I'm sure there would be a chance for it to work out, but Thomas also keenly aware of the opportunity. Yeah, he's going to check. He's going to make sure nothing cheeky is happening, no shenanigans, and it's going to be on MANDEM trying to figure out a different way to bust this. Perhaps some man-threats, perhaps some other ways to get through. Unfortunately for Hans, he's not getting through that top door anytime soon because he's back to Nirvana.
He indeed is traveling to Valhalla even, maybe that is how he's picturing himself, but runs, shoots the rockets forward, doesn't really find anything, and we are into this fabled stalemate. Oh, hello, welcome to the camera, my friend. But everyone really is opening the shutter indeed. Inzo is backing up Thomas on the l'étranger, the Frenchies who will slap me through the face, and I don't know what to think about this game now. What am I to think of this?
They're holding on to this, man. Witness, they're not going to push out of Granary Lost unless it's a sure thing. And a sure thing on Granary Lost is like 4 frags, one of them being the medic. They're just going to hold this as best they can, and it's going to be on MANDEM to figure it out. Because at the same time, MANDEM have been struggling to find an answer to this. They've been throwing a lot of things out there. They're trying the Inzo Sniper now to counter-snipe Thomas. He wins the duel for now, and that opens things up a little bit. Obviously, Witness are going to be aware. They're going to be dodging the sightlines as best they can, but they need to be sure that Inzo will not hit the shots. They need to flinch him.
Sniper though. 6 HP on him, cannot find a shot, and Hans tried to protect his own sniper. Suffers as well. It is 2 players down, and the top area does not really present an opening as Zems is putting the stickies left, and they can't even enter here as the sentry gun is is very suppressive, and now the soldier jumps in the sky. It's a body shot. I take that.
We take those. We take those. I mean, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it is a sniper kill, and Boulder is hiding. I think they're being too keen with that. I don't think they're going to push out. Witness at this point with a minute 50 left on the clock, especially on Granary, they're just going to sit this timer out. And the Americans are going to make fun of us again, but this is just how it goes. They're going to be waiting out. They're going to be holding on for this. And because there's no way they're going to get more by pushing out than just waiting for MANDEM to, well, really just break their teeth out, trying to chew this out somehow. They're not finding what they need to. Into a nice little headshot there again onto Papi, but will it matter? Will it open things up that they need to? Because now you need follow-up. That soldier being down is just a small opening. It's a window, but you need to make use of the window. Hans tries to make use of that window. Gets onto auto, gets the force!
It is the force indeed. He would have also dropped if he did not pop, and the revolver dentition is coming out. It is June very much hurrying, scurrying out alive with a boulder, and the second point.
They're not going to cap, right? No, they're not going to cap. They know the timer. They want to play that. Just a couple of traps to see if they can catch him. They're going to be hard to see. Lucas knows what he's doing with those, and they're not going to know to check those spots as well. And it's going to be on MANDEM to convert this push now. 47 seconds left. A full Uber in their pocket, and an aggressive Witness hold to really try and slow this down as best they can.
Do they have a perspective though on this right side? Thomas is only really spawning now, and he's trying to switch to the left side, so no real threat of them being stared down long range, but the sentry gun isn't addressed at all. It finally falters down, but the pipes are magnetic. Thomas can leave into spawn very much indeed. Papi as well. 2 players down, and they want to urge forward. The jolt force of those players is piping them away, and now the scout flank is going to cannibalize upon the enemy team. It is auto deleted. Lucas Tank dying. Only Ixie left alive in the spawn, but finally, MANDEM take that 1 lead.
They found what they needed. They finally got through that crucial chokehold that Witness had on that last point with 9 seconds left on the clock as well. Didn't even have to go into overtime. They get the frags, they get the damage in, and there you go. MANDEM go up around. I'm getting the sense of deja vu because this happened as well on Metalworks. However, this time around, it took almost half the map to get here, so Witness, they're going to be feeling a little bit more heat this time around to get back into this.
They will definitely do so. Thems is now a little bit peppered and not quite sprayed by those stickies flung his way, and Lucas perpetually on 70 HP. Papi wants to control the sky, land on that lamp. What a fantastic enlightening play for everyone to see. And Balder is receiving a quarrelsome quarrel. Ailing players on the enemy team, and Witness Gaming do not have the health numbers to help their own success story.
Nope, they're going to have to get out. They're going to have to sit back here. And Hans doesn't quite get the skip jump he wants to. He's just going to get levitated in air. An ambitious rocket. If it hit, that would be a clip. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And he's going to have to get back to his team in, well, about 8 seconds time when he respawns. So a 1 mid fight for MANDEM, but both medics alive, both Ubers in play. Witness very much keenly aware of the situation they are in. They have to get themselves around here, and Inzo is holding his knife like a gun. That's an interesting,
that is
interesting one.
Next level tactics that we might see at play here, coming through the bush. But Hugo is only a little bit looking at the garage as Inzo is on sniper, and he's trying to poke and prod a little bit, but maybe the rotation to the right side would be a bit more fitting for him. Never mind still sticking to the garage.
Yeah, I mean, there's some cheeky angles here. If you can get your soldier out, that would be quite something. Unfortunately, he's going to eat a lot of spam now. They know that the sniper is in play. They want to make sure he doesn't get the crucial shots he needs, and that's a big body shot onto Thomas. He's going to be out of the equation for a little bit before getting healed back up. And all Inzo needs here is one crucial shot to open things up ever so slightly. Rons, in the meantime, uses the distraction again, right onto the combo. Huge damage! Gets the force onto Otto. That is what they needed. The sniper was just a flashbang to distract them from the real threat, which is a raccoon in the ranks.
A raccoon in the ranks and an automatic Uber pop as well. Maybe that is what his name is shortly abbreviated to, but the axiomatic statement at the end is anyway that was wonderfully set up. Using this threat of this longest staring down marksman, and another flank is not watched, and that is what you are suffering from the opposing team's hand. Let's see how they want to even initially come in here. Hugo doesn't really find the damage. Oh, that's a headshot if I've ever seen one. Doesn't kill the scout initially, but the rocket is enough.
Thomas can't quite get things done in as well. He trades out for Hans, which probably a valuable trade if you're MANDEM. And MANDEM are just getting this control of Yard now. They still have to deal with Papi in behind, and if Papi manages to get his stuff going here, he might be even able to camp this forward spawn ever so slightly. Inzo, meanwhile, it's already in a lost, gets a shot out to Lucas as well, lined up beautifully. This man is unlocked, locked in, much rather, for land, and Papi in behind is starting to become more of a liability than an asset for Witness, as Inzo is just going to keep peeking into this last point, and they're not finding anything to respond to the sniper right now. They're really struggling. Eventually, the bomb comes through, and they still don't get it.
Well, they're even trying to trade here. June doesn't even have to pop until now, and you have one player already down, and then that might be the success story for them. They are flashing the sniper. Sniper in close quarters is sometimes not that helpful after all. Papi is dealt with 3 players down. Inzo bleeds out. That happens sometimes a month, my friend. But Thomas is also charging on that level 1 sentry gun, and he is already claiming the cap time here. It is only a few people really around. Zems tries to stick them out of this entire fight, and now the scouts are getting out. Finally, Lucas Tank is securing his last point.
The respawns are enough to keep Witness on this hold, but it is certainly not as sure of a thing as he would have expected. Ron living on 1, they're a bit ambitious, but gets away with it, lives through Lunchbox. Witness have a chance to stabilize, get a bit of a breather in, retake your second, maybe have a chance to get back out here. It took a while to deal with that Inzo sniper. Also perfect flashes coming out of June throughout that exchange, keeping the entire team in that for so long. Now, Ubers have equalized again.
It is a very staggered approach. You see that June is, well, trying to leap forward, but Arto has his Uber and the Medigun. And his Uber also, the duration is way longer even, and Hans is hiding on the top area. He's shooting 1 rocket, 2 rockets, Lucas Tank down. That is stank for Lucas Tank, and now Hans wants to traverse through the right side of the area, ameliorating the high ground position. It is the other soldier flung into the sky. The deathmatch battle is still ringing out on the right.
They're still fighting for the low ground, but numbers are starting to favor Witness ever so slightly. This one soldier can't get what he needs. Otto's just dancing around the pole, and it's Boulder and June left running away, keeping that Uber in store. Crucially, they have a bit of an ad to work with here, and Witness are being careful. They want the second secured, but just make sure nobody really gets slipped in behind. Oh my lord!
Baller, my friend. Not that impetuous of a play, but you're still keeping in and trying to be impervious after all. papi finds Deliverance with his head straight flung to the ground, and they even still want to fight for this yard here. Thomas is collecting Zams on a 4K compassing with Hugo. Hounds fails the jump, but eventually they can claim the midpoint.
Unfortunate, slightly mistimed at least. Even if it was a fail, you could have, you know, timed it slightly later. It would have been a beautiful one. Such is life. Things don't always go your way. Now you're on the back foot. MANDEM starting to realize that maybe they need to find a response to this Witness aggression. Witness have figured out a little bit how to deal with this. Inzo on the forward spawn snipe as well, but nobody's on that side. Witness probably expecting it to happen. Lucas even sticking it off just in case there's some cheeky hiding happening in there, but it does look like Witness are going to have an easier time trying to get into the second point now. They're starting to pressure the point a little bit. Rotating around the outside, still seeing what MANDEM are throwing at them. What exactly their approach is going to be. Spread thin for now, probably a multiple.
But if you look at the top
here.
lunchbox, it is Hugo instead spamming it, and that really didn't go right for so far, but you see this very slow, methodical, epistemic approach. So much damage from Lucas onto multiple players, and their healths are ruined. That was quite hazardous.
Quite a lot to work with. Unfortunately, the follow-up isn't there soon enough for Witness to clean up any of that damage, and everybody will be very healthy again very shortly, and it's going to continue to be a spam war across this point. Somebody will have to die to all of this damage being thrown both ways eventually, but maybe they're just waiting for the exchange. Maybe somebody will grow impatient. Maybe Otto will want to take his team around. Maybe June will decide that an aggressive Uber forward could be the way to do it, but Witness anticipating something like that, actually being a lot more passive here than they maybe want to be. They're starting to peek into the point again. Inzo's very far forward in Lunchbox as well. Knows about the soldier up top. Is fighting off the scout on the flank as well. Hugo, in the meantime, just
Lucas so very low, 40 HP only on him, but eventually receives an aiding bolt of his team. It's so bizarre, like this architecture of this entire lobby area is so tightly knitted, but all the players are jumping on different high grounds and they are still keeping themselves in the game. It is now banking on 9 minutes, 1-0 lead still for MANDEM, and Witness Gaming have to cook something up. That doesn't start with losing papi, however.
Yeah, and Hugo going down as well, trying to go for a little bit of a bomb in. That's not going to make it any easier. They, again, deal a lot of damage, but nobody's there to clean it up. Hans, in the meantime, already all the way to drop down. Unfortunately, there's a scout watching it, and he looks away at the wrong time. Ixie gets distracted. Beautiful cleanup onto that one. The flank is open. Hans is in onto mid already. Around for the combo to land on top of them. Unfortunately, doesn't have the health to deal a lot of damage. Dies too soon, but still a beautiful flank attempt, and it's going to keep Witness on the back foot.
You could see how Hans was stopping himself mid-air when he jumped in to sort of relocate while traversing through the air. However, it mitigates their own success story, since you only delay it for a little bit, so you can even take the yard area with your familiar heals. And we're still in the same sort of situation. The only thing that changed is that the timer on the top is lower and slower tick down.
Yeah, a minute has passed. MANDEM are wasting time. At the end of the day, they are up around here. Witness were in this situation for the last little half of this map. Now they have to reverse the roles. They're just going to Uber across. Lots of damage onto Julius, onto Zams. Before that, Uber gets popped out. Everybody's shiny. Everybody's invulnerable. It's going to be on the post-Uber fight on the positioning. Ixie on the flank. It's a bit of damage. Gets the kill onto Inzo as well. Runs cleaned up. They find papi on the other side, but the frags are favoring Witness. They get
2 for 1, maybe 3 for 1. So much damage. And now it is those Zams coming in. Otto is immediately annihilated. Annihilation on that point.
Ixie,
on the last point. He has to battle 1v2, but those
so
damage times are enough. He has practiced for such a long period of time. And Ixie is claiming that parity for his team. Wow. Go on to Deathmatch servers once again. You can even take your medic with me. I do not care.
I know papi is turning around and kissing Ixie on the mouth for that one. There's no way he is not. That is, wow. What a playmaker. Ixie showing up once more for land. Huge damage onto Boulder, really showing him, yeah, you might be like the new kid on the block that everybody's hyping up, but at the end of the day, nothing beats experience. Ixie showing who's boss, even after a huge play from Zams. MANDEM can't hold that point. It's 1-0, just almost 7 minutes left. Another mid fight on the way. Witness back in the game.
Witness want to take this with 2 maps indeed and don't want to give this little bit of a leeway here to MANDEM, but it is the collapse on the right side. 4 players fall. Nice pipe though onto June. Auto living, being chased though, surfing out. 1 arrow, 1 bolt. Can he find another one? No. Ultimately losing his life. Only Lucas in the world in the lunchbox. 40
They found him
HP.
too. I mean, he's gonna be healthy, but no, that's not enough damage. He does get the roller kill onto Hans, but it's still a good trade nonetheless. That's a crucial target to take down. Lucas is going to be out of this fight for so long as well. Now MANDEM have a nice opportunity to maybe even get into second. Not having to worry about those stickies for a while. Being able to get some more ground here. Yard easily theirs. Second perhaps as well, depending on how the soldier aggression goes. Never mind, Witness, no, they need to keep this under control. They can't let MANDEM get too much ground.
They surely cannot. They have been very benevolent paragons for the opposition, or for the opposing team rather, as they have been lauded as the top dogs, so they are allowing them for so far. Hans doesn't hit the skip jump, but he is very safely secured out by his own follow-up rockets on the ground, so it doesn't really wield any disadvantage.
And it's going to be a bit of a slowdown here. Both teams taking breather. You have had a lot of action. Now you got to find a way to bust these holds. You can't just throw things at the wall anymore. You got to be a bit more methodical. Rons tries to get a bit of leverage through choke here. Nice high bomb, but won't be able to land on much. Matter of fact, might pay with his own life. He will not escape that one. Hugo picks up Inzo as well, and doesn't quite get the kill onto Hans, but still Hans is low and gets cleaned up eventually. So 3 players down for MANDEM, opens the door for Witness to try and do something, and MANDEM are aware and are way out of there before any danger can hit the rest of their combo.
Swaying left, swaying forth, but most importantly, darting back so ferociously. It is only a Hans late spawner, and Zams has some stickies forward, but they're being flung open into an open space, and the scout has this wonderful duty of cleaning up the stickies. Papi on the medic, but the jukes, the dodges, the dives, you can't even lay a single finger on me, my friend. Try next time.
That's June for you. One of the best medics in Europe. People were doubting her abilities, but clearly that's not true. Very much so, can hold her own against a soldier like Papi, and we're still looking at a 1-0, 4 minutes and 18 seconds on the clock. Both of these teams dead even. Both of these maps so close. This one not showing a clear victor so far either, and if at this rate, it's either a last-second victory once more or a golden cap for these teams. And Witness are in the driver's seat for now, having to find a way to get into this yard, having to find a way to get through MANDEM's defense, and they're not getting a lot of success. They're not finding what they need to. Papi in the position.
Setting their jigsaw puzzles in play, and Papi wants to be the player to fall.
Lucas dies too. Matter of fact, Lucas actually gets killed on the flank in the meantime, and things are not looking all that hot for Witness. MANDEM back in the driver's seat, taking it across mid immediately, and Witness aware of their dilemma that they're in, their predicament. They're just out of there, taken to the yard, flipping back and forth here.
Granary was picked by Witness. I like that we have this confirmation, because you might have not judged that scene from sort of post-factual commentary or from the out appearance of it. Anyway, Papi is now a little bit backing up to Auto to be healed up to a higher health bar, but still 1-1.
Still 1-1, still anybody's game. Neither of these teams giving each other an inch at this point, not wanting to get well, much rather let the enemies get away with anything. So secure, so careful and methodical in their approaches to all of this. Not wanting to give too much away. Rons again, a huge bomb in. We'll just settle for the soldier. Nice little rocket to deny Papi's escape. Lucas eats a lot of damage as well, but won't quite get cleaned up. But still, this opens things up for MANDEM, and Lucas still so much pressure on him. Nobody has died for MANDEM either. The Ubers are going to be out, and it's going to be slightly better for June, even if she might have to flash a bit, and Rons does get caught outside of it. It's going to be on this post positioning, and it might just favor the aggressing team here.
But
MANDEM.
the blue scouts want to be on the scout flank, tries to collectively cannibalize on the opposing team, as they have already pincered them a little bit here to the side flank and separating them out, since in the garage it is only a very weakly scout who can't even commit into the fight for any longer. Hans takes Ixi, throws him right into the dumpster, my friend, and Balder still has some people to clean up. Lucas finally receiving that quarrelsome quarrel.
He needed it so badly, and he does get out of there eventually. But ultimately, somehow, some way, MANDEM come out on top of that Yard fight. They have Yard under control now. They have just under 2 minutes to try and convert this as a round, take themselves to the third map, give themselves another chance at going straight to the grand finals tomorrow evening. And if they want that, that's a juicy, juicy opportunity to have, to be the team that actually beats Witness in the playoffs.
I do adore the switch up in the cadence, that the Uber fights are coming a little bit more into play. You saw how wonderfully June and Otto were recapitalizing on their own resources, especially the Uber duration timer. And Zems has some stickies forward. Nothing really consequential is found for the moment.
They're pressure cooking this, the three-pronged approach, all the angles that you can possibly get to across the point. Lucas gets caught by a nice little pipe from Zams, and even if they find Rons in response, okay, they find Inzo as well. Ixi cleans that one up. Hans is in the lunchbox behind.
Why is he staring at the wall? Oh, he still trades it out somehow in the lunchbox. Going to be hungry as well, hungry hippo, and that is also papi chasing through. Maybe, yes, Zams is caught in transition, lost in translation. Are they still speaking the same language, my friend? But this Uber will probably be better for Witness Gaming.
Ever so slightly, but not a lot of players caught in it. And Ixi is there to clean up the frag onto June. That's exactly what they need. Unfortunately, though, all it does is secure this fact that Witness will not lose the map. Unfortunately for them, though, they also can't win anymore. It is 20 seconds left. All they have to do is not lose in those 20 seconds, and we're headed to the golden cap for Granary, and it is very much so looking like the second is under control.
Hugo has the radar.
He knows.
We heard an eponymous and anonymous figure yesterday. Some people have radars turned on, and we saw it perfectly executed this time around. 2-1-0 stalemate. Everyone loses. I have a little small turbo taps in my ear, and he told mid cap, you know, golden cap, maybe even golden mid cap.
There's a chance. There's a chance. We're gonna have 10 minutes for another round that will decide who takes the map first. But if it continues at this pace, we may very well look at that golden mid, and at that point, we just hope for MANDEM that they have the stamina to stick this one out, because it's gonna be a long night.
Do you have any sort of thoughts on those 1v1s in sort of Uber trades? Like, I was impressed by both of those medics. I have felt like June definitely was urging her players on to maybe stick a little bit more toward her, so they can maybe even have a slower or lower Uber duration, but still come out on top, because then they are sort of positioning themselves into wonderful positions to get the recollapse.
I feel like for a lot of these exchanges, MANDEM has had the better positioning indeed. It is a subtle thing, and obviously it still doesn't guarantee that they win the fight, but it gives them like that little bit of advantage, and they have been more consistently doing that. Otto, traditionally also among these two medics, is more passive, right? He doesn't do as much calling, he's a bit quieter, he does stick back a little bit more, lets his team do the working, and then is just there when he needs to be there. He's still very, very solid, obviously, but you know, he's a bit more passive in that regard. So perhaps that is the difference we're seeing in the medic playstyles ever so slightly here. Ultimately, though, well, it made a bit of a difference, but will the difference really matter if we're just going to be looking at another stalemate for the next 10 minutes, right? This golden cap is going to be the really deciding thing.
It's where I mostly have my eyes peeled toward that demo versus a demo showdown. I loved how Zems was a little bit more tended toward sort of trying to open up the space. He was always flinging one sticky, especially in those lobbies. I felt like they were in the lobby a little bit more, but you hear the countdown. And we see the
golden
action.
cap is underway. Yeah, Zems, a player just a couple of years ago, is sitting in as a substitute during the Arcadia LAN. An up-and-coming player, new to Prem. 2 years later, he's playing at the very top on LAN himself, contesting with the kings of Europe of Witness Gaming, and finding himself battling Titans. So we'll see how this golden cap sets MANDEM onto the stage of perhaps a grand final visit straight away, or if Witness are going to get their first free ticket right away either side. It's mid-fight so far on this first golden cap.
I feel like this is TF2 now for us on hard mode. We are not seeing the we're not seeing the names, we're not seeing the HUD, so we can now enter this though. The HUD is suddenly flaring up. It is Ixi taking this lead into his face and into the very able and weakly players that he is still shooting apart with a pistol. It might be enough. Julius, Thems that is caught out. June falling down, and I think Witness want to book immediately their straight route into the grand final.
That is a very commanding mid-fight and performance out of Witness, and it is going to require mountains for MANDEM to hang on to this last point. As the Uber comes through for Witness, they're going to try to claim that left side as best they can. Find essentially immediately. Nice little snipe onto papi though, shutting that ground down ever so slightly. Hans, however, dies on the other side as well. It is still going to be on this post-Uber fight, and Witness have a bit of better positioning. They find a lot of frags either side, and it is actually favoring the side of MANDEM.
Scouts are chasing.
It's going to be on Thomas. Will he be able to work his magic against these two rather low players, or will they find what they need to? The respawners are going to come in soon as well. Hans is there to reinforce them. Thomas still feeling himself, but can't stick it out for much longer. Witness are going to have to wait this one out, and they're going to have an ad to work with once more, so it's by no means done, but they still have to make it work here, and MANDEM are going to have more time this time to try and hold.
Playing the long-term fight. This is also the crit streak school of thought, maybe sometimes coined also by Condawg, but that is what you want here. There we go. We have names back on and put those names onto those players. Retain, sustain, and attain as he is pumping through. Lucas is catching Inzo in transition. That is already one player down. Hugo is equalized though by Rons on the flank. Hans, the soldier duo, is sort of giving them disparity once more.
They want more, and these soldiers are doing so much work for MANDEM.
But there's so much cap time!
So much cap time as well, and they're nuking the whole team. It's only the soldiers left.
2 versus 2.
Actually, Rons and Zams trying to hold this down
Oh,
somehow.
the pipe!
The health is not favoring either side. Thomas wins the fight, and it is Witness to the grand finals.
To the grand finals indeed. Thomas was having none of that. That was so close. Almost single-digit HP mattering. We almost even barely got to double digits there, like 10 HP, 7 HP, but fantastic play regardless. And Thomas definitely not even being only the hero of that last push, but he has commanded his own team. Also, we see some very, very juicy clips here shown onto your screen, but Witness Gaming, they don't want to see a third map.
They come out on top. They stick it out for a bit longer than MANDEM can, and they're going to be happy to have an opportunity to sleep in a little bit tomorrow. They have to get up later. They don't have to do as much work, and we're going to throw it to our beautiful, beautiful gentleman on the couch to analyze the hell out of this game.
My God, we were treated to a wonderful game, a wonderful upper bracket final here. Condawg, reactions, confusion?
It's a mixture of emotions, Turbo. I don't really know what to think right now. All I know is that the boys, MANDEM, they're a bit disappointed, naturally, you know. Ixi's just been pulling out the stops on both maps. He had 2 crazy clutches, not only on the first map, also on this map. He took that 1 versus 2, June and Boulder. I've been talking about them all day.
With a buff no less, and he fight through it, and his team were erupted. Papi said, he's Italian! Did you not know? He's Italian!
I did know, and everybody knows about Ixi. He's one of the best scouts in the EU for a reason, and yeah, I can't talk. I'm so sad, man.
Lucky, but MANDEM are never going to be able to eat Italian food again. Is this going to be like, are they going to be kicking themselves?
Spaghetti bolognese is off the menu forever. Yeah, Ixi's been playing amazing. Like I was just saying to the boys earlier, like anyone that I talk about and talk to Witness about, even, you got to talk about Ixi. Like, he's the guy in the back that you don't expect. You expect Thomas to run in with an Uber and kill your whole team, right? Ixi just runs in without an Uber and kills your whole team. He's nuts. But I do feel like in this game in particular, there was a couple bits with MANDEM where they may have dropped the ball a couple times. You know, Ron's dying on mid, you know, trying to hit a skybox, stay up there and that kind of thing, a wall bug. Didn't quite make it, dies, gives up mid, etc. Just a few little bits that didn't go quite their way. But yeah, Witness pretty solid.
But Condawg, remind me, a lot of these mids actually went MANDEM's way. To say that this was the map pick of Witness, MANDEM started off on a good foot.
They did, but they had a few weaknesses on other parts of the map. I mean, I've got a little quote here. I was obviously a fly in the wall with the MANDEM boys. And I'm sure when we got to Witnesses last, MANDEM, this was early on in the map. Horn says, Sams, can you go base jumper? Let's get the parachute involved. Sam says, I've never used that weapon before. Do I just press space? And this is where, maybe they haven't played Granary that much. Witness, they picked it for a reason. They clearly know that MANDEM, they're not too strong on that map. And, yeah, hopefully this may go into mind games tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe MANDEM ban it out if they get to play each other again. But Witness just pretty crystal clear on top there, to be honest.
Lucky. I mean, obviously, we don't get to see too many shades of Witness. They usually just stick with a really strong, start-out, gun-blazing sort of performance. But it seems if you peel back the layers a bit, they've got some clutch in there. A lot of the players are quite clutch.
Yeah, I think it might partly just come down to the fact that Witness, they took a break for a bit. They're coming back onto a LAN. They were clearly the old established team, but MANDEM have kept going, and Papi's getting old. Maybe he's getting arthritis.
He's getting dominated in the game.
Yeah, just jitters and things. What's it you got in your hands again? Yeah. Oh, that didn't stand the test of time, did it? You just rubbed that off. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, but like I was saying, they've come back. They're still doing well, and it's a bit of a pre-show for us now about. They're thinking about going to America. They're thinking about moving on. Are they going to continue performing at this tournament? Are they going to make the run, Connor?
Speaking of the run, gentlemen, let's look at the run, because it's not the only run that's been had during all this. We had other games simultaneously happening during all this, so we have a bit of a live update for you. So obviously Witness, they take the 2 maps. They're going to be going straight into the grand final. MANDEM knocked down to that lower bracket. And it's still to be decided who is going to be meeting them there, because Venomcrest, they might be meeting them because they did beat out against, if I can find the team here with my tiny vision.
Mac, my friend, Mac.
Big Blokeland has been knocked out by Venomcrest in a clean 2-0. My.
And if we think back to the group stage, obviously at that time, did Mac come out on top? I don't actually remember, but let's pretend that Mac came out on top.
Spiritually, he did when he got this result.
I think they
against
did,
Witness.
yeah, no, because Mac did really well in the groups, and I think Mac came out top the first time round, so it might be a little bit of a revenge for the Venomcrest boys. I assume that the DTR full fence is still ongoing.
Lucky, your team, I guess your fellow room teams that were in your room. I'm going to coin the phrase roomie, where you were sharing with Forfens and Danish Tyrant Regime. They're still fighting off here.
Yeah, I think Forfens are struggling at the moment. After speaking to the boys in our booth, obviously, because we can turn around and go, "Hey
Your
boys,
roomies.
how are you doing?" But for the most part, they had Sake or Sake, however you want to pronounce it, stepping in for Brugesman, obviously their main caller and things like that. They said sort of words to the tune of, it was a bit different to how they play. It wasn't exactly how they wanted to play. Now they've got Brugesman. He came onto LAN, no warm-up, straight into an official, and maybe a little bit jittery coming in. I mean, Brugesman is amazing as a player, but struggling, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to suck, Condawg, if you were basically, your team is begging for you. It's like, oh, thank goodness you're here, Brugesman. Thank goodness you're here. We need you. We need you to fix everything we've got going on right now. And do you think that's going to put some pressure on the poor boys' shoulders?
It's a little bit of pressure, but you've got to remember, Bruges, he's not just a DM player. He is a mind of the game. He's a thinker, Lucky. He likes to think about the game. He's unlocking these sort of stalemates on Snake Quarter last. If they come up against these things, he's going to be finding the solutions. So, sure, he may have had a rough first day, but as we can see, they're 1-0 up against DTR right now. I'm pretty confident that they're going to be able to put Arms and Smile in the bin. And you know what? He's going to have his second game. Hey, Papi, you all right, mate? You happy?
Look
come
at him,
here,
he's
mate.
so happy.
Come have a seat,
so
mate.
happy.
Come on.
Hugo, come on. Hugo, where are you going? Boy, get back here. You coward.
Go on, Turbo. What have you got
Miss
for them,
Salentes. I don't mind playing the bad guy in this. Anything to get him onto the couch. I can change my mind at any moment. Anyway, welcome to the couch, Papi. I always liked you. You a couch, arriver.
Yeah,
Yeah.
frequently.
Anyway, obviously, well done. Congratulations, because
Thank
on
you.
your upper bracket final. Level with me. Were you scared? Were you scared,
Oh, yeah,
Papi?
terrified. They're good. They're very good. Very close games, so it was tough.
Is it humbling to be in this position? I bet it's been a long time since you've been challenged like this, Papi.
Yeah, I think last time was... Oh, that's loud.
There's
Arcadia
a lot
final.
of echo. Don't worry. You just ignore it. It's just two boys talking.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, to be honest, in the online seasons, they challenged us a lot as well. But more when they had the demo man extraordinaire Bill. So, yeah.
I mean, so were you actually coming into this with any sort of homework at all? Are you guys actually looking at it and be like, man, we need to study these MANDEM boys. What are they doing on mid? Or are you just completely focusing on yourselves? And
No, we probably should do our homework because they were cooking us on the mid fights. I think we won like 2 mids on both maps. So.
You get slapped.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough out there.
And level with me, Papi, obviously this is a big step in your huge, what should be like hero's journey here. This is just the midpoint in theory. And how do you want this story to end out? Does it have to end in you winning this LAN event? Or will it be literally just game over if you lose this LAN?
I mean, not really, because we're going to America. That's the one we're focused on. This is just...
so even if you bomb out, you
if
go
we
to
bomb
grand final,
0-15 in rounds, I'll still be happy.
Okay, fair enough. Now we know how the skinny is and all that. Lucky, obviously, if you've got any, my fellow caster, that's /player / attending couch person. Don't suppose you've got any sort of smart questions or anything. Well, we're kind of graced with Papi, who just kind of bowed onto the couch.
You did really good. I'm really proud of you. You're welcome. What do you feel like you have to change going forward? Because, I mean, that was pretty close. Granary's slow, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I think I messed up the macro in the first 10 minutes. I did some really bad main calls, and we were on the back foot for the first, 15 minutes a Gran? Like 15, 20 minutes maybe a Gran. And Ixie just...
He bails you out, boy.
God, that boy.
Oh, my God.
That boy is so good.
I hope you are eating nothing but Italian food for at least 2 weeks now. Just to
I'll
pay
do
homage.
whatever he wants. I mean, Ixie might be the best big game player, on our team. Arcadia final, he was insane. Last Poland, he was insane. This upper bracket, he was insane. The block on metal was crucial, right? 2-shot Zoe. And then the thing he did to Boulder in June on Granary last, we would have lost that map, right? It would have been 1-0 to them.
Yeah, more than likely.
I don't know.
Condawg,
God.
you've been acting like a big MANDEM fanboy all game. Have you got anything
Dude,
nice? Yeah, look, he's tattooed himself up.
Dude, I played with this guy for 5 years.
You know what? At some point,
I played
your
with this guy
name
for 5
came
years.
up in their
He
comms.
cut me, Turbo, he cut me 2-3 times?
No, I never cut you. I left you.
Yeah, same thing. I say, Condawg, you want to make a team? You say, yeah. And then 2 weeks later, oh, by the way, I'm playing with Veens. Oh, by the way, I'm playing with Ixie and Lucas.
Papi, you got to face it. He's cut you this many times. He's left you out hanging. He's supporting MANDEM now. Get the hint.
I think I'm not going to play Dota with you anymore. I mean, your Enigma is terrible. You literally just feed Eidolons in lane.
Let it all out.
We've not won a game on Dota for years.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And the last breakfast place we went to, it wasn't that good.
Right, that breakfast place, I can't
good.
believe you're outing me right now. That breakfast place was class. Just because they had some sugar cubes you felt was a little bit above you, I know you're a working man.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't that good. Actually, the first one was rip-off.
Which first one?
The one, Charing Cross. That was bad.
Okay, I'll leave you that. But the last one was nice, mate. Mate, we got great service. She kept
the
coming
service was
over,
good.
filling up our tap water.
Service was good.
I feel like we've derailed this segment a little bit, but we can.
Yeah, but oh Jesus!
Wow. Do you want to just? I'm just Dem now.
You're the Dem.
We Dem boys. You know what I mean? No, but Papi, I do have one question.
Okay, yeah, sure.
For you, do you think? No, I won't ask. I can't ask him that on stream. I can't. No, I'm sorry.
I could ask him, what were you going to say? All right, Papi. Obviously, you get a nice big break from your upper bracket final. Is there any... Obviously, it's not written in the stars that you're going to meet MANDEM again. It could be all these other teams.
Who won lower bracket games? Does anyone know?
So, Venom Crest have beaten Big poLAND, so you don't. Oh, yeah, products back on the menu.
Oh my god, production value.
Yes, Papi, you're
Who are they playing
saved.
against?
You're saved from your
What is that team?
Slayer.
For Fence vs who? No.
Yeah, it's still ongoing at the moment, so that means it's still to be decided. So, obviously, you got Venom Crest, 4
Oh,
Fence.
Mac told me he was playing against Yak.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, that's Venom
Oh,
Crest.
so then for Fence play who?
My God, you really don't play these lower teams,
Oh,
do you?
DTR. Dude, just call them the AMS team. I don't know what DTR means.
Oh, right. But yeah,
Dude.
AMS is out, Yak is in, Ryan is out.
Yeah, I feel
So-
bad for Ryan.
So
Ryan's
if
a
you
really
had to
good
pick,
player.
your favorite mastermind to meet in the grand final, Nevo, Yak, I forgot who was on for. Oh yeah, and Mac. Wait, no, that won't be Mac. Yak.
Boulder.
Oh yeah, I've said Yak already. It'll be Yak,
Yeah.
Nevo, or anyway. Out of all these top teams, who are you hoping to meet in the grand final?
Yes, please. I think I'd play Mula.
Let's play Mula. That
Mula's
would
my
be
boy. I'd
great.
play
So
Mula.
4 Fence
But
grand
if I'm honest,
final.
I think we'll play Mandem. Mandem are really strong.
All
Mandem are really
right.
strong.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Okay. Boys, thank you very much for indulging me on this nice little couch here. This has been our day 2. And yeah, that means that we're going to have to pack up the stream. We're going to have to say goodnight. And we are going to have to head to the bar. If you want-
Chelsea.
don't worry, guys. You can go. I'll meet you down there.
Chelsea.
Anyway, thank you very much, all you Twitch chat viewers are watching. You're very much the reason we do this. Thank you to the rest of the poLAND.tf staff. Big thank you to Essentials.tf for obviously doing all this. We still have one more day to go. That's
Yes.
going to be day 3. Our grand final and our low bracket runs are still to be done. We'll see you there. Ta-ta.
Number 19. TV2.
Soldier. 6 of them all.
Go!